Anthony, it's really important for you to know I care about you. I love you. And I'm here for you, whether or not you want to wear glasses.
I don't like you.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. All right. Hey, one and all. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. Of course, we've got the one, the only, the incredible Anthony Millicuri over there. I'm, of course, Glenn Hausman. How are you, sir?
Good, my friend. I'll tell you, you're definitely in the Pierre. There's no way you're not in the Pierre right now.
I know. Listen, everybody, we're supposed to be at the Pierre, a Taj Hotel in New York City today, but unfortunately, take a look outside our windows here. It is crazy snowing. My mom is too freaked out. Yes, I'm 50 years old, and I still have to worry about my mom. Me driving.
Your mom said you can't go. Literally,
I can't go, and I'm like, I can't let her down. I will stay home today. But honestly, it is a mess out there. There was a good 97% chance.
That explains a lot, bro. Like, you're 50 years old, and we get a call last night. So we're all actually yesterday. We're on this call. Me, the producer, and Glenn, and he was all freaked out. He goes, "I have to talk to my mom. I'm not sure if I can go." And I was like, "Listen, you're stressed out. Don't go. We won't go. It's okay. We'll do it, and then we'll go in a couple of weeks." And he goes, "Okay, we won't go." So, like, Glenn, we're not at the Pier in New York City because it's snowing. It's not terrible, but it's snowing. And his mom won't let him go.
I wanted to freak out since my mom has been living alone.
I know. I think it's beautiful. I think it's cute.
Right. So I'm trying to remove a little bit of stress from her life, but I'm very disappointed we cannot be there today. We'll be bringing on the GM, Francois-Olivier Luiggi, any moment now. But before we do that, I want to recommend everybody go check out Best Buy Hospitality. You know Best Buy Business. They are the preferred TV installation partner for Avenger clients, and they're delivering turnkey solutions scalable to meet projects of any size. And every dollar spent with Best Buy counts towards that Avenger spend, including appliances, computer technology, digital signage, and of course, hospitality, TVs, and installation. Even employee technology incentives and gifts you purchase for your amazing employees that work so hard for you. Please check them out at bestbuy.com/hospitality. And Anthony, you know, it's another day. It's still early in the year, and it's still a chance for hotel owners to lower their property tax bills, because falling tax revenues means lower tax assessments, and you need to make sure that your bottom line is protected. So I want you to reach out to Bright Support. They can help you find ways to lower your property taxes.
Always protect your bottom.
Yep. Right? Isn't that such a great program that they actually do all that hard work for you, Anthony?
Oh, you know what? The more work somebody else does for me, the happier I am.
That's why we want you to book your free 30-minute consultation at brightsupport.net/hotels, or call them at 833-411-2233. And of course, tell them No Vacancy sent you. And don't forget, on the 25th next week, HIT, and this show will definitely be a hit, is going to be showcasing the new virtual tech next week on our show that helps general contractors, that helps you as property developers do things quickly, do things more speedily. Right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
And finally, because we don't have enough people supporting our show, let's talk about our great friends over at Ecotech, my favorite garbage can. And I'll tell you what, this has been such a great saver. And I love, Anthony, whenever we go on location somewhere and we talk about this product, they're like, oh, the hotel's like, we got to get this for our meeting rooms. We've got to get this for our guest rooms. We got to do it. It's so cheap. It's so inexpensive.
No matter where I am in my house, I always have one right there near me. So I just pulled it up because I just happen to have one near me. And, you know, what people have to understand is, you know, there's a lot of labor in cleaning these baskets, and that's a problem. And right now we have to save labor. It's really important. So whether it's a convention, a meeting, or in a hotel, I think these are a great solution. I really do.
It is a great solution. And I want to thank Colleen for pointing out that it's 81 degrees in Tampa today. Colleen, we were happy you were joining us today. Now I'm on the fence. I don't know. I have to be reminded of how great it is in Florida every day.
No, it's really important that Colleen told me it's 81 degrees in Tampa, because when I'm packing tonight, apparently I was going to pack too heavy. So, Colleen, my secret's out. I may be in Tampa tomorrow.
That's awesome. And check this out. I love this. Michael Sandercock says, snow days or hotels are great, challenging, but the team comes together. There's always a special feel about snow days, Anthony. What was that like for you in hotels?
You like, I wish people like could understand when you have a hurricane, a tornado, or a flood, a snowstorm. In Texas, they're having energy problems. The young lady in Tennessee had the bomb go off right outside our hotel. We had the World Trade Center thing happen. We had Sandy. All these events that happen, usually hotels are the first people to get affected because we're your house. We have 400, 500, 2,000 families in our home, and we have to take care of them. So stuff gets real. So when it's all over and we've taken care of our guests and we've taken care of our building and we've taken care of everything we're supposed to take care of, that feeling of togetherness, you really don't understand that feeling of togetherness unless you're on one of those teams. You just can't understand. Even the people that may not be getting along so much, by the end, we have no choice but to get along. Right. And there's something really beautiful about it.
There certainly is. And I want to welcome, we have a listener. Unfortunately, I can't read the person's name, but they're coming from China in Taiwan. So that's pretty cool. We are international. We're all over the world. We hit something like 60 different countries around the world, which is so cool, Anthony.
Listen, we're very fortunate. So, Colleen, I won't bring Nicole with me.
Guest. I have one thing I want to show you guys.
So go ahead, show me.
All right. So it's cold, it's snowy, and up in Canada over the Christmas holiday, a lot of politicians got in trouble for not following the rules and going away to Caribbean locations for their vacations. Now, it wasn't necessarily the right thing for them to do, but one of the things that bothers me, Anthony, is a lot of tourism videos that we see are the same exact thing over and over and over again. People holding hands, walking on the beach, a couple of rocks on somebody's back, getting a massage, all those images. So I saw this ad for the town of Moose Jaw, Canada, up in Saskatchewan, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun to show everyone.
It's you in the bikini.
What's that?
It's you in the bikini. No? Okay.
No, I said fun.
Are you a Canadian politician taking heat for going away at Christmas? Listen up.
I'm Fraser Tolmie, Mayor of Moose Jaw.
And I'm notoriously lucky because I don't need to take the heat to get away from it all. Why?
Thank you. Because we have it all right here in Canada's most notorious city. We have all the amenities and no shaming.
So, if you're someone trying to escape from it all, do what Al Capone did. Come to Canada's most notorious city. We'll never tell.
It's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Yep. Right. It's fun, different, and most importantly, it's memorable.
And he's good. And the mayor is good. Like, he's not a clown. Like, he's really good at doing it. I loved it. Everything. Do you want one criticism?
I do.
Okay. So if that was, I see these things all the time when we're running hotels. People come to me, my PR, and say, hey, what do you think of this? The first thing I would say is what I said to you. Brilliant. Love it. Done. Book it. Put it on. One thing we got to change.
Yeah.
You can see children in the background in the beginning shot, and there's families around, and then he drops his towel like he got in naked.
Right.
That's not cool. Like, that would bother me. I would say, hey, that's all cool. No reason to drop the towel. Like, just like drop the towel, but then when you jump in, show just a piece of his bathing suit, just to show that we're not walking around naked in front of families. That was the only thing that kind of that hit me as a person that's really tries to not offend people in their marketing. But I love it. I absolutely think it's insanely brilliant.
I thought you would like that. And I did want to point out that people walking adjacent to the pool were wearing their masks and stuff like that. So they were being appropriate with that.
Right. And that doesn't bother me as much as soon as I see a kid, then we can't be dropping our bathing suit like we're jumping in the bathing suit in the pool naked. It just makes him look bad. Right. But outside of that, listen, I remember when What Happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, when that was a thing. And I was like, that's brilliant. And I said, they won the biggest award in marketing, the biggest award. And that motivated me like nothing's ever has motivated me in my entire career. And I said, I want to win the same awards they won this year. I want to win it next year. Right. So we went with the martini at the Algonquin, but but it really motivated me. That branding of what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. I wanted to win the award, and we won it the next year with the Martini on the Rock at the Algonquin. I guess I'm patting myself on the back a little bit because our team did a great job. But it's really about what branding does to other hotels and other resorts. That brand, what he did, should get every marketing person in every hotel and say, we've got to turn things upside down. We're going out with the stones and the beauty and that's kind of what I always try to build. I try to build something different, not offensive, but fun and memorable. And there's a lot of times they would do it with a mayor or something, or a politician or whoever, or a general manager. Like, they're not the right guy. Like, you got to go get the right guy or the right girl. He is the right guy. He was perfect for that because he's just a little kind of goofy, but a little serious. And like, you could tell, like, even when he went for the drink, you can tell that he was a little clumsy with that because he was like a little, you could tell he was nervous. But I love it all. I love it all. I obsess over stuff like that, as you can tell.
So happy that I showed that ad then this morning. I didn't expect to get this much of excitement out of you. And of course, the awards that Anthony is referring to are the HSMAI organization, the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association International, does their annual Adrian Awards, of which Las Vegas was a big winner, and so was the Algonquin Hotel.
And we were the only individual hotel to ever win that award to this day. And it was called, we won the Plum Award, and we won Best in Show. We won Best Marketing Piece, but then we won Best in Show, which means over everything. And again, not me, our PR company. I just pushed them really hard. But great company. So they did a great job. And they've won a lot of awards after that. With that said, my friend.
Yep. I will bring on Francois, but
I'm sorry. How do you know what I was going to say? You cut me off.
I thought because I'm starting to sense you are good with transitions.
No, let me finish my thought before you interrupt me.
I'm so sorry, Anthony.
So with that said, why don't we bring in our friend?
All right, but before we do that, I just want to send out our best love and support to everybody out there in Texas. Thank you so much for your dedication using a hotspot to pay attention to us.
Yeah, and it's really interesting of what's happening in Texas, right? I went on the news channels this morning. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find that headline on some of the news channels. And I was like, why? There's people suffering in Texas. And I don't know what's going on. I really don't. Like, I haven't been following news. I've been really busy doing stuff. So I haven't followed the news. Can you tell me what's going on in Texas?
Major power outages. They're having
Well, I
problems.
know that, but like what?
Water. It's freezing cold. Houses aren't built for that kind of weather. It's a real legitimate disaster.
Now, how many houses? I heard they're doing a rolling brownout or blackout where you get service for 4 hours and then you lose it for 4 hours. Can you educate me? Can you educate me?
Exactly what's going on, but I just know it's not good. A lot of the supermarkets are out of food. It's really a situation that's turning dire very, very quickly because of the weather.
Well, hopefully we'll have a response to it and we'll have an answer to it really, really quickly.
Cool. Zimbabwe. Nice to represent the continent of Africa. I love that.
Failure of our leadership, Anthony Melchiori. Are you saying failure of Anthony Melchiori's leadership?
Anthony Melchiori.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Texas, I don't know, man. People love being off the grid there. Maybe they're a little too off the grid.
Yes, exactly. All right. Speaking about people
I don't know, but good luck. And anybody wants to come on next week and talk to us about what's happening in hotels in Texas, please let us know.
That's a great idea. All right. So someone who's decidedly on the grid, maybe the number 2 hotel in all of New York City.
You know what's interesting? The general manager we're about to meet, he's from Texas. Wait till you hear his accent.
I know. It's the craziest thing. You guys won't believe it. Let's welcome native Texan Francois-Olivier Luiggi to the show. How are you, sir?
Hi, guys. How are you? I have to speak like this then, no? So people are not.
You know, it's so funny when you said hi, guys, you sound like you're from Brooklyn for a second.
Yeah. Spending too many years in New York. But yeah, I'm a little far from Texas. I grew up in Paris, so.
So let's.
Paris, Texas? There's a Paris, Texas, isn't there? There got to be a Paris, Texas.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at this. I am, of course, not at the Pierre Hotel, but you are in the same location, actually in the Pierre Hotel. So everybody in the chat rooms, let us know which one you like better. Francois actually being there or the virtual look over here, which is a great photograph that just resonates really well on my green screen over here. So Francois, thank you so much for being here. Of course, we were saying you're the number 2 hotel in all of New York City. That number 1 hotel's got a lot to look out for because I know you are coming after them. Number 36 in the entire country. Got 35 to take down, and I know you will over time. What's it like right now being at the Pierre, which is on the park, Central Park, of course, I'm referring to.
FYI, there is a Paris, Texas.
Yes.
So you know, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, there is. I should have made the joke. I missed out a great opportunity, but at least you guys got it, right? So Francois, you're in one of the best locations in all of the world, in particularly in New York. How great is it to be leading that team in such a special location?
You know, the location is amazing. We're right on the park. And actually, a guest just pointed out to me that whenever I show like the presidential suite, I usually take my camera and take a picture of the view. I mean, it's hard because the guests do it when I show, and I'm like, do you mind? I think I want to also take a picture. No, I mean, we are very lucky. It's an amazing location. And we just turned 90 this year. So we've been on that spot for 90 years.
How long has it been a Taj Hotel? I'm going to guess 15?
Yeah,
20.
Since 2005.
Nice.
You're right. Okay. I'll tell you, you know, and people have to understand where you are. You're on 59th Street and 5th Avenue, right?
Could you bring up that picture again, Dave?
You're on the corner, and everything in luxury, everything in New York, everything that's special about Central Park and the feeling and the horse and buggy and the great restaurants, everything stops and starts on that corner. That's the corner where luxury really started 90 years ago in New York City, whether it be the Plaza, whether it be you guys. I mean, that's like, you have Bergdorf's right there. You have Fifth Avenue, all the shopping. There's something magical. I remember taking my kids to FEO Schwartz when I was a kid, when they were kids, and we got on the horse and buggy. And my kids were maybe 5 years old, the twins. I had them all dressed up. It was just me and them. I had a limousine that brought us there, and I just wanted to really give them that experience. And I remember my daughter Mia had this beautiful white dress on, and it was a rainy day, and it was right around Christmas, and she unfortunately hit a puddle, and she had the mud all over her dress. She got into the horse and carriage ride, and she forgot all about her beautiful dress, because it's so magical. That horse and buggy in that area is just so magical. And I'll be honest with you, every time I looked at the pier when I worked at the Plaza, I was jealous. I always wanted to. If somebody right now offered me your job, I'm sorry, but I would take it.
All right.
Don't say that out loud.
Yeah, Dave, bring up that picture one more time, because
Don't say it out loud.
Explain something in that particular picture, because it's really relevant. All right. So if you're looking at this photograph now, in the top middle of the screen, right against the other corner of the park, that is the Plaza Hotel where Anthony once worked. Diagonally across there from the main building, which is, of course, the Pierre. Now, the one right behind the Pierre that looks like 1960s architecture, that's where the Apple store currently is, but also home to the FAO Schwartz that
and right next door is the Sherry Netherland, and then the Ritz was down there. And I mean, every beautiful hotel is on that area. But there's something about the Pierre. Yeah. The Pierre, like, say you have 5 cool people in the room, right? Mm-hmm. You have 5 cool people in the room, right? And then, like, I don't know, Muhammad Ali walks in. Is there anybody else cool in the room? No, there's nobody else cool in the room. That's the Pierre. Like, everybody could be in the room, but when the Pierre walks in, it's a different level. It's just a different feeling and a different level.
And, you know, I think it comes from the DNA. And, you know, you were at the Plaza. And by the way, you noticed on the picture that the 2 buildings have similar architecture. When the Pierre was built, it finished the grand entrance to Central Park. So you see, they're both sort of white brick, copper roof, French architecture, and that was really to mark the entrance to Central Park and, you know, the beginning of Fifth Avenue. So it's really important even for the architecture of New York.
Yeah, you really feel it. You really feel it. I go out of my way. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was going to say, the Pierre, you're very too kind to the Pierre, but what's helping us is that so many events have taken place here. So many people have gotten married here. So many movie premieres, so many social events, so many fundraising for the past 90 years that have taken place here. So that has given us, you know, a sort of a different image, you know.
But isn't it isn't it like the cool kid, but like nobody knows the cool kid? Meaning everybody knows the Pierre, but like, you're a little bit under the radar compared to some of the other hotels because you work at such a high level. You have so many high-end people and so many meetings, and sometimes people don't want to be in the media. it's like that's where you go to disappear sometimes.
Yes, and that's how the hotel was also designed. You know, it has a separate entrance for the ballroom. It has a separate entrance for the hotel and a separate entrance for the residents on Fifth Avenue. You know, the hotel is designed that you can all do your business and always be discreet. So that's also part of our DNA, is to offer that discretion when you entertain and you visit New York. So not as flashy as some of our competitors who are, you know, red carpet, headlights all the time. But the Pierre, as you said, we're pretty proud of what we do.
So before we go into talk about the Pierre, can we just get a little bit about your background and tell people where you were trained and just a little bit, and then because I think that's fascinating.
I was trained by my grandmother, I think. I always give a lot of credit because I went to school. I had no idea what to do, but every time they come and do like a career fair, every job they name, I was like, oh, not that or not this, or help no. And then at the end of the presentation, somebody said, you know, you can go to a hotel school. So when I was 16, I was like, oh my, hotel school, I'm in. And then as soon as I could, I worked every summer since I'm 16 in hotels and restaurants, and I've studied hard. And I always thought that the way it all started is, you know, you can tell from my last name, I'm sort of half French, half Italian, because I'm from Corsica. In the Mediterranean. So our family reunions, there were always 20, 30 people for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And my grandparents did all the cooking and entertaining. And I was like, you know, this is pretty impressive. And it's not uncommon to many families, you know, for holidays and all that. So that's what gave me the bug to be in this business.
Francois, being both French and Italian heritage, how do you stay so fit and thin?
The Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And also, as Anthony knows, when you work in a hotel, I think you walk like 20,000 steps every day on a slow day. So that helps. You know?
Yeah, it's the hotel business keeps you fit two way. One, stress, and two, when you're eating, you're working it off as you're eating, and you really. I mean, how many days have you worked 18-hour days and you forgot to eat? I mean, so many days. I was like, I don't think I ate today.
So unfortunately, since some of my colleagues are going to watch this, I never forget to eat. That's one thing I don't do. But I do. I cannot skip a meal. So that would be a lie. But yes, no, I don't mind eating while I walk, eating between two meetings, standing up at my desk. I have no problem.
So after your grandmother, tell us your resume. Show off a little bit.
Yeah. So there you go. So I went to hotel school, and then I had a choice to do a graduate degree, and I thought, where should I go? Should I go to Switzerland? Should I go to Cornell in New York? So I decided to do the Cornell route. And there was a French business school called ESSEC in Paris that offered a joint degree. So I could study in France, get a degree from Cornell, and then I was given the opportunity to go to the States.
Wow.
Either study there or work there. So I ended up doing an internship at the Essex House, which in 1991, can you believe that, was a Nikko hotel, part of Japan.
Just so people know, Essex House is located on the south side of Central Park, just down the street from the plaza.
Exactly, and it's an iconic building with a huge red sign that you can see in all the movies.
Well, hold on. 1991, you were at the Essex House. I was at the plaza. There is no way you're even in like 10 years close to my age. I'm 55 years old. I put you at 38.
Thank you. It's the lighting, you know.
No, but I met you in person. You're not in your 50s, that's for sure.
That will remain the secret. But I was in 1991 at the Essex House. And actually, I remember that our temporary office, I was in Miles Davis' apartment. I mean, he obviously had sold it to Japan Airlines, and that's where our offices were. So I thought, I love this city, so I stayed. I mean, they offered me a job when I graduated, and I spent 3 years there. And another funny note is I had thought for a moment I should be in accounting or something. And then the director of food and beverage there looked at me and said, what? No. Room service. You wake up at 4 a.m. and I want to see you there at 4:45, setting up for breakfast, and then call me back in 6 months. Tell me this is not what you like. And he was right. I loved it. Room service was my first job after university. And after that, I did a career in food and beverage.
Okay, just so you know, for those people that don't know high-end hotels, you're crazy because the worst position in the world to start in is room service. Because It's where all the problems are. It's where all the concern is. It's the elevators aren't coming down in time. Their eggs are getting there cold. You don't have enough waiters. I mean, you're nuts.
And we did at the time, and I have a lot of friends I still talk to from the Essex House. We did all the movie junkets.
Wow.
Press junkets, movie junkets, which those are insane for those in the business who know. You may have 50 journalists, 20 celebrities, 2 movies at the same time.
Right.
All done by room service. Those were great memories. So then after that, I went to the Waldorf Astoria and I worked at Bull and Bear, the steakhouse. And then because of the French accent, they said, why are you working at Bull and Bear? Go to Pico Calais, which was going to be a French restaurant. So I helped open Pico Calais with the chef.
John Doherty?
Yeah, John Doherty was the executive chef, and he had hired Laurent Gras, a French chef who's made a career for himself in the US since then. And I worked, and there, this is really where I did 18-hour days, I think. It's a blur.
So everyone that's ever worked for Eric Long says the same thing. It's just a blur.
It's a blur. And the guy was unbelievable. I remember sort of his coaching and everything, but I tell you, this is an enormous hotel. It's over 1,000 rooms, and it runs as a 5-star hotel with restaurants, bar, lounge, clubs, banquet operation. I mean, was like you bought a cruise ship and you sail away for 2 years and you come back.
It's so true. And Eric Long was the captain, and he never left the cruise ship. And the one thing that always stood out to me with Eric Long, you're sharp dressed. I like to think I'm sharp dressed. Most of the people that run these hotels, we know how to carry ourselves, right? Has anybody ever outperformed or outsharpened or outdressed Eric Long? I don't think so.
No, I always felt bad. Oh my God.
You're always like, right? You're always like,
But with Eric Long, when I was there, I was still young, and he really put in us the notion of, for me, the importance of listening to customers, listening to your team, that the focus should really be the guests and all of us together. I mean, this sounds simple and a bumper sticker, but when you work for Eric Long, this was your life. They meant it. And I had a wonderful time. But somehow room service was a calling for me, so I got an offer to join the Four Seasons Hotel, I think 98. It just had been open for a few years, to actually say, we're looking for someone insane enough to run room service. And I said, I'm in. And I actually ended up spending 7 years at the Four in New York. And it was the late 90s. Remember, it was the tech boom. I mean, there was no limits to what we could do in that hotel in room service. People ordered 2-3 times in the morning.
Wow.
What was the biggest room service check you've ever seen in your life?
Oh, good question.
Oh, for 5 people, it was like $10,000.
Wow.
Actually, this is a funny story because this couple, they only drank, Cristal Rosé, which was back then was $600 a bottle, things like that. And then I asked them, what could we make special for you? They said, we made here and there, and we had canard à l'orange, the French duck with orange. So I said, well, why don't we make that for you? Well, that was $1,000. So. And I said, I will cut it in front of you in the room, in room service. So we did it. And I told the chef, I said, listen, I haven't cut a duck in a while, so why don't you make 2? Because, I've seen, comedy shows and you
right.
cut the flies off the plate.
Right.
You do, and it just falls. So I said, make 2 and just in case. And of course, I'm in the room and here's a check for $10,000. And I'm looking at this duck and I can't find the head from the front, from the back. And I ended up using both ducks. So whatever I cut, they didn't really notice. You cut, and then I switched them around.
No, but you know what? Hold on. There's a whole lesson, an MBA lesson in that. The preparation. You've convinced them to buy $1,000 meal. It's a $10,000 check. That cutting it is not always easy. You're a perfectionist. You're an expert. So you're like, hey, chef, give me another duck. And then, of course, you screw it up. And then there's another duck and nobody knows the difference. That's why you are who you are.
Yeah, I guess so. But I always remember, I mean, it costs nothing to make 2 when you're making 1. But if you screw up the one in the room in front of their parents and their kids for their once-in-a-lifetime meal. But yeah, so I learned a lot Four Seasons in New York. And it's also a story about New York City. I mean, it attracts so many different kinds of guests, right? It's the UN, the diplomatic business, it's movies, it's the TV capital of the United States with all the TV stations. and he has leisure business, corporate travelers, big events, and New York has been able to run, as you know, 90% occupancy all year round. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I've got breaking news. We talk about Eric Long so much on this show.
Don't tell me he's commented.
Oh, no, he's not. Please. That would be amazing. But we do have an interview with him.
All right. Yeah.
So I want to show off how impeccably dressed he is all the time. I found that on your Twitter feed over there.
Well, that was quick, and that was at a real quick story. That was when we were honoring him to bring him into the Waldorf Astoria alumni. Now I'm not a Waldorf Astoria alumni, but I was invited, and that's when he was. I think he had already been retired, and he doesn't like leaving his golf course in Arizona. And they finally convinced him to come, and it was a big deal that he was there. And I remember John Doherty getting on the I don't know if you were in the room, Francois. John Doherty getting on the stage, and John Doherty was about to say something, and he just looked at Eric and goes, "Working for you was hard." And he walked off the stage. Were you in the room, Francois?
No, but I heard the story.
You heard the story, right? So you don't think I'm lying. He literally looked him in the eye and said, "Working for you was hard," and walked off the stage. And it's true.
And all credit to him, because there is an army of Waldorf Astoria graduates who have carried those moments, especially those formative years for me. I mean, I cannot forget. I remember almost everything he told me.
I call it Waldorf. I'm Waldorf Astoria adjacent. Like he was my mentor, so I would go to him 2-3 times a year. And he when you were there, believe it or not, during those years, I was asked to come on, and I didn't come on for a number of reasons, but we just became he became my mentor, and he was always there for me. And some advice I took, some advice I didn't, but he was always there for me. And like I said, I wasn't one of the soldiers, but I got all the benefits of him without having to be in the war with him.
You just have to be the best. That's all.
And you know what? And we're talking about that. We're talking about that now a lot in my company and people I'm around. You just said something. What do you mean by that? Just explain that, because that's so critically important. You're working at the Waldorf Astoria, you're working at the Pierre, you're working at the Essex House, all these great hotels. What do you mean you just have to be the best? That's all. There's a lot behind that.
I think there is a formula, and I think and that's something I learned from Holt Schulze, because eventually I ended up working for him at Capella. But he said, you have to, when you wake up in the morning, if you don't wake up and your first thought is to, I want to serve people, then you're in the wrong business, So it's to symbolize the fact that at the end of the day, we're here to serve, we're here to put the guest at the center of everything we do, and everything else flows from that. Then I need to have a great team. They need to have the tools to work. I need to listen to them. I need to make sure they're safe. All these moving parts have to come together if the end result is really to make sure the guest has a great time. And the people around you have the same goal. People who work in hotels love service. They love to meet people. They love you. How many doormen you've met who remember the name of a guest a year later? It takes no skill from them. It's just who they are as a person. So being the best when you start running a team, you have to be as good as they are, at least, and then find ways to move the team forward, almost like a coach. The coach doesn't have to be the best player, but he surely has to get the best out of his players.
You said something interesting. We're going to go back to the duck for a second. And you had a backup duck, right? So you had a stunt double duck, and then you had a backup duck. And that's
a great for a TV series.
And that's what you expect your team to be. Like if you say, "Hey, go do that," and all of a sudden they come down, they tell you the story, and they say, "I didn't cut the duck right, or the duck fell on the floor." Your first instinct was, "Do you have a backup duck?" And if you had the right person in the place, you're like, "Of course I had a backup duck," and probably the chef had another one just in case you screwed up both of them. And that is the best, because when you say you have to wake up in the morning to serve people, what I like to do is I like to take the problems out of people's way. I like to solve problems. I was on a call yesterday and I asked someone, I said, "What happens if that doesn't happen?" And he said, "I'm here to remove all obstacles out of your way." And I said, "I will hold you accountable for that." And that's what we do as hoteliers, right? We just take all the obstacles out of your way. And that, if you really want to define why I love this business, I love just removing obstacles from people.
It's so true. And I think we all find ways to do that all the time. For example, I mean, again, being in New York City, every hotel has its fair share of celebrities, coming. And I'm trying to tell the team, don't go ooh, ah, ha, and faint, you just stay focused. I said,
Maybe that for when we're around.
Yes, look at the schedule. I said, ask them the schedule. The schedule is insane because if you're in New York and you are A-list celebrity, most probably you're going to do a morning talk show, Good Morning America or something like that. That means you have to wake up at 4:00 in the morning and be at the studio at 5, rehearse, do the thing. So I said, start thinking, what is it they're going to need? Are they going to leave the hotel at 4:00 in the morning with nothing? Is room service ready? Do we know what they want? Like, you just helping them think through the whole thing. And then you find 1,000 obstacles. We don't have enough people, or we need this, or we need that, and we change some things. But you're right. Removing obstacles is also walking people through the process, listening to them, helping them think through it. And then at the end of the day, if you look at that fancy celebrity, suddenly you look at them completely different. When you look at their schedule for 4 days in New York, you're like, wow, this is not fun.
You said something really interesting, and I'm nowhere near an A-list celebrity, but I've had a really packed schedule having to do those kind of junkets and things like that. Yeah. And I remember, I always say I am the best hotel guest you ever want to be, unless I'm in a 5-star hotel. If I'm in a 5-star hotel, I'm not difficult because I just want everything. And I want it immediately, and I don't want hesitation. And usually, if you pick the right hotel, I never have to complain because you just said you're thinking for me. If you know my schedule and you work with my assistant, I'm getting up 4:00 in the morning. So before I have to ask for it, why are you bringing me to the room? You say, well, just so you know, we know you like carrot juice. We know you like egg whites, and we know you like crispy bacon. And just so you know, would you like that at 4:00? Or would you like it at 3:45? I can't tell you when I'm in first class hotels how many times that has happened. And that's what it's about. So when I'm in hotels like yours, I'm an easy guest because you guys do it really, really well. But my expectation is that. It's not like, oh my God, they blew me away. It's like, that's what I expect.
That's why you pay more. And
right.
Sorry, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent, but people ask me, although, is it better luxury hotel or this and that? I said, no. You can have an amazing experience at a hotel at any level, right? A limited service hotel can give you great service. The problem is a 5-star hotel is your expectations are 100 times higher, and you have to meet them. But you also charge 100 times more. And so I tell people, I said, no, luxury hotel just has more people around. So when you see it's someone's birthday, you actually can do something about it. Here we have a pastry chef and a pastry team working almost 24 hours a day. It is not hard to have a cake made within 3 hours. But those are the tools you have here. And maybe at a smaller hotel with limited service, you know what, if you can look at the guests and wish them happy birthday when they check in, that's going to be equally amazing.
Or you can run to Walmart and get a beautiful little cake and put it on a beautiful plate, and you have the same kind of feeling.
But here, as you said, because you said your expectations are 10 times higher, and that's what happens for us, because we are people imagine, like, they expect us to be able to do all those things, so we have to deliver.
So Francois, on this particular topic, give us one good story of some insane requests that you guys got and were able to deliver on when you didn't start out saying, we can get this done, but you knew you had to do it anyway.
So
happens every day.
No. So the thing is, I will tell you what I found crazy, right? Because, when you work in room service for too many years like I did, there is nothing you're not prepared for. People want lobster, any kind of food. We made Peking duck one day. I asked one of the employees who knew how to make it from their parents and to help us make it. So there is not much you can do. And at the end of the day, most celebrities, at the end of the day, they just want green M&Ms or something silly, which you have 10 bags of in the back, as Anthony knows.
Good news is the M&M store in Times Square sells them by the color. So that's
By the way, so that's the first time I was at the Essex House, and it was a very famous singer, and I read the thing, and it says green M&Ms. I'm like, oh my God, I have to open all the bags. And somebody look at me like, where do you come from? It's America. You can buy M&Ms by the color. So we'll have them to you in an hour. But my funniest request was actually what I thought, wow, I never thought of this, was a guy who was proposing to his girlfriend, and he organized fake paparazzi. So when she got out of the limo, there would be all these people with a red carpet, and she'd be confused and then impressed, and it was the whole thing. So I didn't know how to get that done. But of course, it's New York City. There is a service that does that for you. It's a lot of actors. You know, there's the agency who have all these wonderful actors who can sort of do anything you want. And we organized fake paparazzi with a red carpet. She arrived. She was so surprised. Then he proposed. I thought that was some request.
So in the day, there was a hotel in Chicago that was a Hard Rock for a little while, I believe, but it was another music-focused hotel. They actually had a paparazzi package that you could get where they did just that sort of a thing with all sorts of other things to make you feel like you were a player.
So it had to be pulled off correctly, and she had no idea, and it was done really well.
Yeah, and I also want to. I'm sorry, Francois.
No, I was going to say about these requests. Sometimes we are the one correcting the requests from the celebrities because it's all done by all their assistants. I'm like, really? They want that water? I mean, nobody drinks that anymore. This is what we're giving so and so. I'm like, oh, you're right. Chop that off. Give me the good stuff. I'm like, that's all right. We'll tell you what you should like.
Right. That's interesting. If we can bring it back to just hospitality in general. Listen, you're at the top of the game, right? I mean, it really doesn't get any bigger than your career and what you've done and accomplished and your teams, because you're nothing without your teams. But I also want to pull it back to a little bit. If I'm a general manager listening to this show and I'm in a 3-star hotel or I'm in a limited service hotel, I'm in an extended stay hotel, and there's a truck driver that's been there for a week. What you're saying is you can do the same thing for that style of hotel. So you call your friends, you call your housekeepers, and you dress up as paparazzi. You go to Walmart and you get a cake. So service, you don't have to wait till you have all the resources and all the fancy things around you to make people, because people really don't want it to be perfect. They just want you to think about. I'll give you an example. I shoveled my next door neighbor's walk the other day, and I shaved and I shoveled it this morning. Did I say shave? And I shoveled it this morning, and she got me my favorite biscotti. She went out to the store and got me my favorite biscotti. And that means everything to me. And she's like family to me, and she didn't have to do that. But like, so people don't want, it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. You just got to say, you've got to try. And so when they look at you, when people look at you and they look at the opulence that you're surrounded by, and they hear your beautiful accent and your education, you're still at the end of the day a busboy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the worst thing you can do is stifle the team, tell them, no, don't do this, don't do that. You have to encourage them to find ways to connect with the guests at any level, anywhere, simply, and it should be easy. And the requests are never crazy. You said it's a small birthday cake. It's just acknowledging something. Sometimes it's you have in May, most of the limited service hotel will end up with a lot of families for graduations and reunion, and it's just a simple acknowledgement and just being prepared. And you can really make someone's stay so different.
I remember there was a young lady that was getting married to, let's say, the owner of my hotel, Plaza Hotel 1991. So you figure it out. And this young lady, her name may be Marla, and she said, Tony, I need a baked potato. She called me Tony. And I go down to the kitchen, and we didn't have baked potatoes. Now, I didn't know at the time that it took a while to make a baked potato, apparently. And the chef wasn't going to make a baked potato. So I was wearing a tuxedo, and I ran down to Mickey Mantle's, where you know very well, used to be there. And I walked in with my tuxedo. It was late at night. And I said, I need a baked potato. So I got the baked potato. I run as fast as I could. I go down to room service. Of course, we played it right. We put it on there. And I brought the baked potato on the tray. And I was so proud of myself. And I handed it to Miss Maples, one of the loveliest people you ever meet. And I handed it to her. And she just looked at me like I gave her the world. Like she was like, thank you. I hope it wasn't too much trouble. I said, of course not. Whatever you want. And that moment defined that. I don't care if she was Marla Maples or she was whoever she was. It didn't matter. She wanted a baked potato. That's all she wanted. And there was something so beautiful about that moment was I, in my tuxedo, surrounded by this beautiful hotel, I just had to get a baked potato to this guest. And that's, I just love that. Or there's grapes. I couldn't find grapes for this princess that had to literally feed her the grapes in her mouth. It's like you just have to. And I don't know. Maybe we're just nuts, Francois. That's what makes us happy.
Probably. Yeah, it does make you happy. And on top of that, for a moment, you have a real connection with that person.
Yeah.
Something that's rare, and it's very rewarding. You get them to go through the day. I mean, sometimes they sit around do nothing, but other time, they're getting married, or they have a TV interview to do, a big show to promote, or they have to perform Madison Square Garden. And the simplest thing, those few seconds moment, you make a real connection, and you've made a difference.
Isn't that the whole spirit of hospitality, right? Isn't that the point, right? To create those moments that you can't get anywhere else, that define you, that help separate you from every other hotel experience people have ever had. I absolutely love that. Anthony, one other cool thing that I really love, I got to hear a little bit about is I actually, don't get too surprised, but I actually spent about 12 seconds doing a little research this morning. And I found out that you guys have somebody who handles only like diplomatic sales, for example. That's pretty wild. So you're dealing, because you mentioned earlier on the UN, you're dealing with not just celebrities and stuff, but heads of state and very influential people in the global political scene. What is that like, trying to deal with those kinds of individuals compared to celebrities? There might be specific security needs or other things that you have to consider.
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm sorry, it's always the same thing. You have to put the guest at the center and say, what can I do for these people? And for the diplomatic business, it's a lot about scheduling. Like, you just cannot be late. Like, they don't need, nothing's very complicated, but the schedules are so tight. So you have to make sure you have it's an army basically behind and a hotel like the Pierre, I'll give you a specific example. We have our own laundry, valet, dry cleaning plant inside the hotel.
Wow.
We have a bakery. We have a 24-hour room service. We have a team 24 hours a day working around the clock. And you have basically they're waiting for something to happen, and you can deliver requests and things like that. So most of this business wants to make sure that, maybe they land at 2:00 in the morning. You cannot tell them, well, I'll see you at 9. You have to promise that you can deliver on their schedule. So it's a question of trust, because once they sign and then everybody shows up, you have to be able to deliver. So your reputation over the years is very helpful.
Yeah.
Do you ever have like diplomats from different countries that might have a similar political ideology in the same hotel, for example, during when the UN meets in the fall in New York?
So what we always do, all the hotels, because again, cities like New York, the people have been welcoming the heads of states for 40 years. So you have natural groupings of countries and by affinity, and then sometimes you have a change of government in some European country. You have so you are trying to be gently and kindly aware of all these things, so you can massage different things. And sometimes you would lose one delegation, but you'll gain another. It's a bit like musical chair. But at the end of the day, it's the reputation of each hotel. And I have to say, a lot of my colleagues, do a fantastic job. And it comes down to, the team in room service, laundry, valet, those crucial components of the hotel. They are the ones who are delivering, the level of service that's needed. And I remember the World of Astoria had so many, including the US president. And imagine the room service team one day, I may not have been Eric Long, told me to go just see. I said, go look, but don't touch, don't say a word, don't do anything, because you won't be able to handle it. And I was watching, the team from whom they was setting up, probably 30 different reception and functions and press conferences in all the suites. So those are the people who make it happen.
I got one more question on this particular
topic. But just one thing I wanted to say, what Francois said, is once that's done, the 30 people are taken care of, different delegates, guess what? You got to do it again tomorrow.
Right.
Yes.
The question that I have also follows up on that. You're dealing with so many different people from all around the world. So we're talking about very specific cultural nuances and differences. How do you train your team to understand all of these things that might not be readily apparent when the person walks in and says, I'm here?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so it's the whole warm welcome. A lot of hotels talk about it all the time. The first 3 minutes of a stay is very important. So what we do is sometimes we have to do a little training with the team to see how you greet and welcome people from different parts of the world, so at different levels of seniority within the government. And it's really different, absolutely. And you practice. And you always have, I've always been in hotels where someone on the team knew how to greet and welcome, people from different parts of the world. But if you get those first 5 minutes right, then you, like any hotel, doesn't matter what level or where you are, if you can get the first 3 minutes of a stay amazing, then you got the guest is on your side.
Yeah,
for the rest.
and a lot of times you have the diplomatic salesperson, or you have the concierge, or you have a salesperson that's coordinating with their people to say this is how you do it. And I don't know if you ever had the King of Morocco, but we had the King of Morocco at the Plaza. And just to tell you, we literally gave them a kitchen. They would bring their furniture. We'd have trucks every year outside. They would have their furniture. We would take our furniture out, and we would take an entire floor for the King of Morocco, and then we would take another floor for his, team. And there were a lot of different rules of who can be on the floor, whose shoes have to be on, whose shoes can be off. I think women weren't allowed on the floor, but men were, or vice versa. I can't remember. There were so many different things, and you just take your cues from their team, and you have your team who then tells your sub team the rules. And there's a lot of them.
So, one fun rule, because I'm trying not to mention or name everyone, but flowers on arrival. Look at a very specific example. If you have a first lady coming or a head of state that is a woman, it would be customary to present them with a presentation bouquet. But that alone is a whole diplomatic. You need a book that's 500 pages big to see whether the flowers are carried flat, or they, like you're getting married, or it's flat on your arm. Are they big? Are they small? What color? What smell? No smell. You don't want any scents. It has to be certain types. It has to be certain, and depending on the country, then this is where you can really add. Can you put flowers that are meaningful for the people you're greeting? And then sometime, I remember at the Pierre, we had 3 countries arriving very close by, and we wanted to do the flower presentation. And then they were all different, and some were flat, some were standing, because they were going to be put in a vase in the room, because you also have to think what people are going to do with them. You give someone flowers, they're standing in front of journalists, and then what do they do with it?
Yeah, right.
Someone to take them from them, and then you throw them out. No, you're supposed to bring them to the room, put them in a vase, but if they were flat, they don't fit in the vase. Those are silly things, but if you take every step of the arrival and you think of the complication, but the execution from the team, you have to think about those things.
This is unbelievable. Anthony, we talk about attention to detail a lot here, but this is taking that to such a level. It's unbelievable.
But you know what? I was a protocol officer in the Air Force, right? So no, to me, it's not. And to Francois, it's really not. It's like flags, like the way you present the flag, the way you, it isn't. To me, it isn't. It isn't a big deal. It isn't, oh my God, it's crazy. It's just the way we're wired. When you were a kid, you had a Swiss Army knife, right? Well, general managers of hotels are Swiss Army knives. It's who we are. You can throw anything at us. And that's why I truly believe you can take a very experienced general manager and they can run any business. They can run into Facebook. They can go Pepsi-Cola. They can run General Motors, because we are faced with everything every day. And it's just like I said, and then we do it again tomorrow. And we're not stressed. We're not like, oh my God, this is the craziest day of my life. Like, this is the craziest day of my life. Like, I've never had, and you've heard me say this, I've never had a bad day. Like, it's like, who is luckier than us? I mean, we have everyone, we're not going, they're all coming to us. It's like you have the palace, and everybody from around the world's coming to your home. And so if you're not wired that way, from the second you go to sleep to the second you wake up, your dreams aren't wired that way. It's hard. If you're wired that way, it's the easiest thing in the world. To me, being in this type of hotel and being around this type of leader and this kind of team, because this kind of team attracts the best. You said the best. Now, the best doesn't necessarily have to go to Cornell and get an MBA and work at the Essex House, the Pierre, and the Four Seasons. The best could be working at McDonald's, but has a spirit for hospitality. And as long as they throw their heart over the wall and their body follows, they're on my team.
Absolutely. And actually, I've always, here, when we hire a position at the Pierre, I love people who come from a background of a more, bigger chain and a limited service hotel, because they have learned all this, there's a lot of technical stuff you have to learn.
Right.
So if you have the passion and you work for a big company, even if it's limited service, maybe you don't realize how much you actually know about the business, all the processes, the procedures, safety protocol, check-in, check-out, all that stuff. And then coming to a place like the Pierre, then you learn, okay, now you have a lot more tools, available to you to create even a better guest experience. And people with this background are very successful.
And hotels like that, and people like you, and we don't solve problems, we prevent problems. And there's a lot of hotels that live in the solving problems. If I'm solving problems, I got a problem. My job is to prevent problems. My job is to have a backup duck. That's my job. My job's not to go running around looking for a backup duck. My job's to have one in my back pocket. And that's just our job. Our job is not to say, well, there's a plumbing issue. Well, we know there's a plumbing issue. We fixed it already. What do you mean you fixed it already? There's somebody already looking at it because we saw something. Somebody went downstairs in their tour 15 minutes before it became a problem, and they fixed it. And that's, it's just the way we're wired. And it's just, and you can teach that, because when you are around people like that, like if you work for Eric Long, it's really quick. There's 2 lines, right? Okay, it's the express line out the door, which is about 30 seconds, maybe 15. And then there's like, oh my God, where am I going? Oh, this is going to be fun. All right, strap me in. And then you can't complain, and you go. And you just go and you don't complain. But a lot of people only make it 15 seconds and leave. The people that take the ride, there's nothing like it, man.
It's true.
Wow. I got to tell you guys, this is so freaking delightful. I am smiling ear to ear at this conversation. And it really is about a show that I didn't expect. I thought we have all these pictures lined up. We're going to show the property, but this is so much better.
Let's show some pictures. Show some pictures.
No, we're going to go to his hotel.
Okay.
Soon, and then we might as well do a property tour. There's no point in doing the pictures now. I love the way this conversation is going. We only have a couple of minutes left before we have to wrap up, Francois. I know we were going to talk about James Beard Foundation and your role with them, but we'll save that for next time as well. How about sharing with us a couple of pearls of wisdom about how to get people to be the best that they can be as they pursue a career in hospitality, hopefully in the luxury form?
Wells of wisdom. Well, as I said, you have to have a passion for service. You have to like connecting with people. You have to have that, and you can have had that experience in any other career or job, doesn't matter. But if you have that as a starting block, then there is your only problem in the hotel industry is to figure out which door to enter in. There's so many options. You can start in engineering. You can be an engineer. You can be a painter. You can
start a room service.
You can work in room service, the best. You can start at the front office. There's so many ways you can start in this business. And sometimes I tell people, just take a job. Just start. Just do it. Start. You're surrounded with people who are just like you, people who love service, and people who love coaching and talking, and you will find 3 people to give you the right kind of push so you can be successful. So, and if you're not sure what to do, start at the front office, start in room service, actually. That's a great place to start. The hotels that at our level have that service, but you just got to step in. And you'll be surrounded by like-minded people, and it's up to you to use this connection and this coaching and have a career.
And there's no other place that, talking about connections, you turn around, and every time you turn around, there's not only an expert, but the people walking through the doors are bought it, sold it, invented it. They're the greatest people in the world. And even if you're just serving them a Coca-Cola, that 30-second conversation you have with them, you basically learn something. But Francois, I want to back up and I want to ask you a question. And I'm going to say something, and what's the first thing that you react to? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Somebody on your team says, "That's good enough." Oh.
I know that. I promise you, one will say that to me today. That's not possible. No, that's just simply, look at that. I'm already shaking. And
I know.
This is not. This can never be said.
That's it. It can never be said.
That's good enough. Oh my God. No, these words not come out of anybody here.
The reason I said that because I wanted to see you just flip out.
It was an awesome face that you made, Francois. You'll have to go back to the videotape and check it out.
What? I haven't done that in a long time. I mean, you just can't say that. You can say, I don't know what to do. Just say that. I don't know what to do. I'm lost, or I don't know. I can't find a solution. And then 10 people will jump in and help you.
Right.
Awesome.
You just can't say that.
I love it. So everyone listening, okay, if you're surrounded by people that say, it's good enough for now, we're in a rush. No one is more in a rush than a 5-star hotel in New York. There is nobody more in a rush, okay, especially during UN, right? So, but it's good enough. Like you said, it just can't be said. I'm sorry, Glenn. I'll hand it back to you.
No, that's awesome. Anthony, I think we're about out of time, but if you have one more important question, let's ask that.
Well, are we going to see a tour and pictures or what? What are we doing?
No, because we're already over time and stuff like
You're
that.
going to come here though, right?
Come to you, Francois, as soon as we can get that scheduled, preferably on a non-snow day.
When his mommy lets him come, we'll go.
Yes.
That's right. So don't worry about that.
I don't really have a question, but more of a statement. Just like Eric Long, there are a lot of soldiers because of him. Female, male, there's just a lot of great people in this industry because of him and stayed in this industry. There's a lot of people in this industry because of you. You have your own team. You have your own bench. You have people that have worked for you who are now general managers and have done great things. And I just want, on behalf of everyone in this industry, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to this industry. Thank you for bringing people along. And just thank you for allowing us not only be a small part of your life today, but just everything that you do, even the things behind the scenes, all the charitable things that you do, and all the things you do for whether it be a celebrity or whether it be anyone that comes to your hotel to make them feel more comfortable, because New York City is the greatest city in the world, and hotels like you prove it.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you so much, Glenn.
Thank you so much.
And I learned always so much, and I hope today, maybe people get a little glimpse into the life of a 5-star hotel in New York. So
this was incredibly delightful, fun, educational, and I can't wait to be with you there soon so we can show off the property to all of our viewers.
And wait. In case Rose Genovese is listening, yes, Rose, we spoke about you before we came on, and we both love you.
Love you, Rose.
And, I feel left out because I may be the only person in the New York hotel scene that hasn't hung out with you. So we'll try to fix that too. Thank you, Francois. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. So listen, I got a secret.
And there's Rose.
Of course. And Rose is probably saying to herself, the hotels I work with, their property taxes are probably too high. And she is right. And you out there might already know it. 2020 was hard on your occupancy rate, but there's hope. That's where Bright Support comes in, and they can help you save your budget this year. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So spend 5 minutes of your time to start the pathway to savings and book a free consultation with Bright Support now at brightsupport.net/hotels. Give them a call at 833-411-2233. And of course, tell them no vacancies at you. Anthony?
And can I tell a quick story? I know I'm probably late for another meeting, but Rose Genovese, when I was doing Hotel Impossible, after Hotel Impossible, we did a show, or during Hotel Impossible, we did a show called 5-Star Secrets. And I called Rose and said, hey, I want to come to the Langham, Chicago to do a show called 5-Star Secrets. I will not tell you the whole backstory, but Rose is, she's very, 5-star, very high end. She's run New York City hotels. She's run the best hotels in the world as director of marketing and sales. And she said, well, you're not going to do Hotel Impossible. I said, no, it's 5-Star Secrets. We're going to show how beautiful the Chicago Langham is. And she used some words, and she's like, I'll just say, she said, Anthony, you will be in trouble. I'll clean it up. Anthony, you will be in trouble if this doesn't go the way it should go. And I said, Rose, trust me. And she goes, I do. And that was the last word she said to me until we came there with the cameras. We did a great show for her. And she didn't even call me. I called her. I go, how'd we do? She goes, you survived. You did well. And then she gave us another hotel, which was great. So Rose, I owe you my 5-star hotel series career, because that hotel really allowed us to do that series. So thank you.
Colleen points out, catch that show and every other thing that Anthony's done at Discovery Plus right now.
Thank you, Colleen.
Yeah. All right. So wrapping this up, I will tease all of you when we are with Francois at the Pierre. I will share a story about how one fateful visit to the Pierre changed the course of my life that brought me here today. But you guys are going to have to wait for that one until we get back there. I know. Pretty.
Your mother and father met on the corner. They went in the hotel and they had you, and you were born to Pierre.
No, but I do think I was conceived after the Jets won the Super Bowl, though. But that's another story for another day. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We love you. Thank you for helping us build this great community with incredible folks out there like yourselves. And remember, guys, do what Francois does. He's got one life. He's blazing on, and
Be kind to yourself.